Hey everyone, I'm Katie Daryl and she is Allie Corbett. And Allie, I have got a question for you and it's simple because it's fill in the blank.
Okay.
Cancer can rock made me feel blank.
Oh, that is an excellent question. Wow. Okay. Cancer can rock made me feel optimistic.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a great day to be in that recording studio surrounded by love, support, and talent, isn't it?
It is. You're already gonna make me cry and like we just started. um, it was really hard to think about making music when you're dealing with, such like life and death kind of things, treatments, and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's hard to like future plan. So being back in the recording studio and having that opportunity to have, my song recorded and have like a full day in the studio, like it was just gave me that optimism that I want to be doing this. And, there is a chance I can keep doing this.
Well, your song, what's great is I was listening to it right before we even jumped on here. It has such a good vibe to it. It is upbeat, it's not a bring you down song. The vibe is upbeat. Is that how you describe your musical background in general? Upbeat?
Yeah, I'm from Newfoundland, which is an island out east in Canada, and we're pretty much known for being upbeat, positive people. So that is my background, and I played in a lot of like indie rock bands and things like that. So yeah, it's just that's kind of my vibe, I guess.
I loved there's a sentence in your song, and the sentence is, "Are these memories we're making?" And I love that question. It really, I heard it and I stopped in my tracks and I was like, are these memories that we're making? It's a very carpe diem. It's the live in the now. What's the point of it all? Why are we doing this? There's so much more than just what we do from those 9 to 5 hours. And are we making memories out of our lives? Tell me about how you got to that sentiment.
Oh, wow. I did not expect this to be as emotional as it is actually being for me right now.
Should we talk about hockey or something? Canadians like hockey. Maple syrup. What else you got up there?
Yeah, what else? Okay, yeah. Icebergs, whales. Okay, all right, here we go. I'm back. Yeah, so that line comes from basically, I've had a lot of kind of near-death experiences in my life before the cancer. So I actually wrote this song in 2017. So I haven't recorded it. It's kind of been sitting and I didn't know when to record it or what it would fit on. And it's all about how we don't know what we're going to remember from day to day. We don't know what moments are going to stick out. We don't know what people remember about us. We don't know what kind of legacy we're going to leave. Basically, yeah, it's what are these memories we're making? Like, is this the moment that's going to be the memory, or is it going to fade away? And yeah, that's what that line kind of means. Am I able to tell like what the song is about?
Yeah. Let's dig into that. The song and its meaning and just the story behind it.
Okay. So there was a news article I was reading about a woman who had challenged Salvador Dali's, like he was a surrealist painter, or absurdist or Dada, I guess, art. And someone had challenged his estate, and she was saying that she was his daughter. So they actually dug up his body, and they found out that his mustache, how it's like his famous like wax little mustache, It was still intact after 28 years. Like he'd been underground for 28 years, but his mustache was still there. So that was the first line that came to me was not after 28 years, not much has changed with Dolly. So then I kind of was thinking about his life story and how many, obstacles he had, and he's still, moving continents and adversity that he faced. And I just kind of intertwined the story with someone who was born on the day that he died, and like, what do their parallel lives look like? And, I guess it's the whole, like, when one person dies, another person's born, like that whole, thing. So the story, and actually I didn't know this at the time when I wrote it, but Dolly's mother died of uterine cancer. And so that actually caused a lot of the changes in his life. So it's kind of a really interesting connection anyway. I didn't actually know that until recently. So that's why I chose the song.
When you were in the studio with all the other musicians, were you able to share the backstory, or was it just run and gun and we've got to record and there's not a lot of time to chit chat?
There wasn't a ton of time for chit chat. We had like lunch on the rooftop, which was beautiful. With like the LA like skyline, and like I was like, this is a dream. It was so nice. But I didn't really talk about the song. I did mention to the keyboard player that there's like a part with like Dada's in it, like la-di-da, da-da-da-da, and that's like an homage to Dadaism. So that's why I put the la-di-das in there.
Oh, I love it. Now I'm going to go back and listen to the song, and it's going to be like all these Easter eggs.
Yeah. So
growing up, what was music like in your childhood?
I was a classical musician for many years. I started violin when I was young and played in the Newfoundland Symphony Youth Orchestra, played in chamber music orchestra. Like I did my classical degree at Memorial University in Newfoundland. So I kind of shied away from fiddling, as what to do with my violin. Even though I grew up in a fiddle-heavy tradition, I was, more focused on being really poised and classical, and, which is, I found out is not my actual personality. So I had many, many years, of just classical training. And then when I was finished my classical music degree, I met one of Charlie Pride's band members, and he's a country artist that, is amazing. So they invited me down to Texas. So I met this guy at an airport, his drummer. And so I went down to Texas and I learned all about Texan swing, fiddle styles. And I was like, this is actually great. And so since then I started playing in, different rock bands. And from there, that's kind of just snowballed. And I haven't played classical in a really long time.
Well, where did music fit in or not fit in when you got your cancer diagnosis? How did music shift in your life? Immediately,
in the couple of years leading up to my diagnosis, I was quite fatigued a lot of the time, and I didn't really know why. I dealt with it by actually giving up my daily responsibilities and going on tour, because I was like, okay, at least on tour, I can sleep all day. I don't have to do the dishes. I don't have to do any laundry. Like everything's taken care of.
Every musician ever has described tour life as relaxing, by the way.
Yeah. So I used tour as like basically to keep going. And so I had been kind of relying on those tours to catch up on extra sleep. And when I got my diagnosis, obviously then I was housebound. I was tethered to the hospital visit, and had to stay local. And it gave me the chance to take a break from playing. A break that I didn't want, but it was an unexpected break. But I used the time to wear T-shirts of different bands that I had played with, recorded with, and I would tell the story. So for each chemo session that I did, I would make like a social media post and be like, oh, I met this band in Nashville and we did this, jam on a rooftop, or, I played on this person's album and, toured with them these many times, and here's a funny story or whatever. So all that stuff is still up on my social media, on my Facebook. I might put it in a blog, I guess. I should put it on my website just so people could go see it and read those stories, because I didn't know if I would make it to be around to tell those later. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure that I was showcasing all of the musicians and people that have made me who I am. Mm-hmm. And it was also cool because the nurses would be like, oh, what T-shirt are you wearing today? And like, tell me about that band. And like, when did you go to Europe? And like, when were you in Poland? And like all those things. It's like just a good conversation piece. And it also made me look forward to chemo days. It was like, this is not a chemo day. This is, this songwriting.
Red Hot Chili Pepper Day for me, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it was nice. It became a thing, and like people started mailing me T-shirts, and yeah. So,
well, it makes me think, have we sent you a Cancer Can Rock T-shirt yet?
I did get one at the session. Yeah. Yeah. And actually one of the T-shirts was sent to me by a keyboard player for Bill Murray's band. So they're called Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers. And my friend is the keyboardist for that band. And then when I got well enough, he invited me to a show to come play. So I played with them in New York in January, which was super fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said everyone can go out to your social media and they can read these stories about your experiences with these bands that you shared while going through your treatment. I want to hear the story about your day in the studio with Cancer Can Rock and recording this new song. And the title of the new song, Dolly Died, right? Dolly
Yeah.
Died.
Yeah. So I was very fortunate that I have some friends in Los Angeles who are musicians. Mm-hmm. And I was also able to bring my kid with me. And it was her first time in Los Angeles. And she's a trumpet player. So she also played on my song, which makes this song very, very special to me. Up until now, she's only done some background vocals on my songs. So it was really, really cool to have her in the studio. And like, what a studio to be the first studio she goes to. It was very cool. So we were at the Village, historic, legendary recording studio. And, I was there with my friends, my two friends and my daughter, and just the whole crew that we met there right from stepping in the door it's just magical inside. And we got a tour of the entire building. And then, went to see our studio, and just like everybody was so incredibly just like gracious and kind. And even though they're like superstars, and it was just a really warm and inviting and comfortable experience.
Everyone says that they're just surrounded by support and love, and it's a good team and a great just a great day. And, again, going back to that line in your song, are these memories we're making, from that day, are there a couple things, nuggets that happened in that day where you're like, this is going to stick out later? When I retell the story, I'm going to remind people about the time X, Y, or Z happened in the studio that day.
Yeah. One of the most fun parts, I guess, was, so Jim was doing the producing, Jim Ebert, and he's so talented, and he just has a vision, for how things are going to fit together. And it's amazing watching him work. And he was like, okay, we need some actual live stomps and claps. So the engineers went into the closet and they found like these risers we could all stomp on. And so everybody was kind of gathered around in like a circle, and we were stomping and clapping. Like, it was just very, very fun and very like, kind of lighten the mood, because a lot of things are done individually, like recording wise, right? So like, the guitar would do their thing and the bass would do their thing. So it was just, that was super fun. And also at the very beginning, we just jammed the song a few times just to catch like the vibe of the song and tempo and decide on, a few things and arrangement wise. And that was like, that was incredible. So.
One thing you mentioned is your daughter was there and got to be in the studio and record. But what stuck out to me is the trumpet. I need to talk to you about the parenting decision of the trumpet here, because that is not necessarily the traditional thing. Most parents put the kids on the piano, maybe guitar, or the violin in your case growing up. Where'd the trumpet come from?
We'd have to ask her. She asked for trumpet at age 9. And honestly, I was around the same age when I asked for violin. So I was like, you know what kind of instrument you want to play. So I feel like, you can just, she knows her heart, and she's really worked at it for the last few years. And she's 14 now. So she's been playing it for almost 5 years, and that's what she wanted to do. And I'm a high school. So by trade, I'm a music teacher. And so I taught high school concert band for a few years in the Arctic. And so I can play book one of every instrument. So, whatever she wanted to start on, I was able to help guide her a little bit. So, but I'm glad she chose the trumpet, because that's one of the ones I'm better at. So we can do duets.
Yeah. So, tell me about your cancer. What you got?
I'll start with the good part is that I've been in remission for 8 months.
Great.
And my hairdresser is a wizard. My hair is not actually this long, but
really? Oh, it looks great. Flawless. Okay.
This time last year, I was very bald. It was like a cue ball.
Goodness.
So my hair now is probably down to here. So after like a year of regrowth, it's probably like here. But my hairdresser has, her secrets. So
Great.
yeah, I'm done with the wigs. I was wearing wigs for a long time. So, okay. Anyway, I'm getting off track.
Oh, I can talk hair all day.
I was going to
say. You had me.
Well, I will say the wigs were great on tour last summer because I could just put it on. I never had to do my hair. Like, it was actually amazing. So let's see, November 2024.
Okay.
Actually, a few years earlier, I had some breast pain and I went for a mammogram and it came back negative. And so I was feeling sick, didn't know what was happening, kept trying different things, different doctors, different tests, and went to Chinese medicine, started drinking teas to like keep up my energy and like get through the day. I moved close to my job so I could come home and nap in the afternoon at lunch and then go back to teach in the afternoon, which sounds crazy. Like now that I look back on it, I'm like, who needs to nap like in the middle of the day to keep going? Do you know what I mean? But it's just like you accommodate yourself in all these ways that are gradual and you don't really know. You're just like, oh, I must be so tired. Like maybe I'm just, I don't know. Just you explain it away. And there's no medical reason. No one could find anything. And then I did notice a lump. So starting probably in February 2024 was growing. But I had already had the mammogram. So I was like, I don't want to bother them for another mammogram. Like I'm not the age to get them. Mm-hmm. So I'm, just like, oh, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah. I don't, not to be a nuisance, could be cancer, but like, I'll just keep it to myself.
Like, I know you already checked like last year, but maybe we could check again. So I was just thinking, okay, I already checked that. It's not that. And then finally, in October, 2024, I was, so from February to October, I just kind of noticed it getting worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And I finally just went to a walk-in clinic. That wasn't my regular doctor. And because I was just afraid to ask for a second mammogram. And I don't know why, but I was afraid that she was going to think I was a hypochondriac or something but anyway, so I did. I went to a walk-in and I just said, hey, I think I might have something. And it was a male doctor. So he brought this other male nurse in just as like, I guess he didn't want to be like alone in the room doing the breast exam. And then he was talking, he was like, oh, my wife's got all kinds of lumps and bumps inside hers. You're going to be fine, but we're going to send you for a mammogram just in case, and then I got the mammogram 5 days later. And then the very next day, my doctor called and said it was malignant. Wow. So November 16th, 2024. And then by December 1st, I had my biopsy and everything. And I found out that it was estrogen progesterone positive. So they call it ER/PR positive, HER2 negative invasive ductal carcinoma. So there's all kinds of types of breast cancer, which is something that I had to learn about. I have an unintentional degree now in in breast cancer types. But that's mine. So
just ER, the cocktail conversation starter you wanted, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How's the weather? Want to know about my type of cancer?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you're in it, that becomes your all-consuming activity. It's just Googling and you're like, for myself anyway, you're just like, why? Like, what did I do? Was there something that I did to cause this? And you can drive yourself absolutely bonkers trying to figure out, and there's sometimes no rhyme or reason, so yeah, but I just wanted to be up on all of my markers from my tumor. And it was a big one. So it was, I think, 9 centimeters. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was inoperable when they found it. So I had to do what was called neoadjuvant chemotherapy. So they were hoping that the chemo would work well enough for them to be able to operate, which is not the typical route that goes. So I did spend probably from like my diagnosis time until April thinking that I might not be able to get the surgery. So that was a pretty dark time. Yeah.
You mentioned early in the story, it was that being scared to be a nuisance, to ask to advocate for yourself, essentially. Have you learned how to advocate for yourself now?
I'd like to say yes. I think there are still times where it's hard to stand up for yourself when you feel like there's something else that should be looked at, because you are kind of treated like you're a little bit of a pain in the butt, So, I mean, I had a pain in my knee because now, of course, I'm on all these medications, so they put me in medically induced menopause because it's an estrogen positive cancer. So now they don't want me to make any estrogen. So they're like, no, your body cannot have it because your cancer cells will use it to grow. So after about 4 months of medically induced menopause, I started having like knee pains, and I was like, has it spread to the bone? Because I had a double mastectomy, and then I had a lymph node dissection. So 2 separate surgeries, and then 28 rounds of radiation.
Cool.
So, yeah. But you still wonder, because it's been in my lymph nodes, like it could be anywhere. Right. And so I try not to think about it too much. And I feel like I'm just going to live my life assuming that I'm cancer free until I'm told otherwise. And, even though there's always that chance, there's a chance that it's anybody's day today, for anything.
You could get hit by a bus. So we got to live in the now.
Yeah. There's a lot of open manholes in New York. Sorry, not to joke. That's actually a horrible way to go, but
it's true. All right. So the music, you had a great day in the studio with Cancer Can Rock. You now have this song recorded. You're going to have this music video. What a great memory and experience from that day. But the fact that you have this living piece of art that's going to go on and continue. Who are you most excited to share the music video with outside of like your daughter?
I would say like sharing it with all of my friends, like on social media, and then also my sister, Katie, who's been there for me through the whole thing. So sharing that with her, it'll be really special.
So many people say music heals. Are you a believer in that?
I think that I don't know where I would be without music, to be honest. I think it played a huge part in my healing. Immediately after finishing my chemo, so May 7th, 2025, I finished my chemo. I answered an ad for a mariachi band.
As one does.
As one does. I'm like, oh, I'm done chemo now. I'm fine.
Mariachi it is.
So I show up to the audition and I have no eyelashes, no eyebrows. I've got my wig on. I'm so pale. Like when I look back at the pictures, like I'm so pale looking. And I just went in with my violin and I was like, guys, I promise, like I'm not always going to look like this, but like I can play. And they were like, oh, you're wonderful. You're in. So I've been playing mariachi for the last year and it's really changed my life. Like we're playing at the Mexican Embassy in Ottawa next week.
Wow.
And I've learned Spanish. So I've been practicing Spanish since last year and it's just completely changed everything. Yeah. Opened like a lot of different like musical like windows in my mind. And it's been really positive. And the music's so fun and it's so upbeat and so exciting and everybody dances and everyone sings along when we play like parties. And so it's been incredible.
Well, I love it. I love that you are trying new things. I love that you said yes to Cancer Can Rock and the experience. And most importantly, selfishly, thank you for coming here and sharing your story with me. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.